Hey, so my plan for this evening is to place these random exception messages we've got, or the generic type of exception messages, with something more specific to the domain, so that we can have some better errors to test with. And then once we've done that, I'm going to try and use the file system storage to actually run the API and check that I can not only create toggles, but they then are available after I restart the API. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into our session tests file. Now here we've got all of the not supported and key not found exceptions. I think we'll do not supported one first. I think that's the only one instance of it. So instead of a not supported exception, we want a, I don't know, builder not found, builder not registered, not registered, or no builder registered. No, we'll go for no builder not registered exception. Or, other than registered, not found. Yeah, because you don't know if it's not registered or if they've just got the type wrong, so we'll go for that. So let's go into our storage and create a new exception type. Inheriting exception. Now, what are we currently chucking it with? Just the type name. So I think, other than the type name, which will make our constructor take the type in. And we'll also take an IEnumerable of something. Did my builder dictionary? Take an IEnumerable of that. No, we'll take an IEnumerable of type. Available. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to create an exception message which is actually useful. Because I know for a fact that I'm going to forget to register things, so we'll say build message available builders aggregate. Right, so now we want to build a nice message, and that wants to return a string. There we go. We'll create a string builder for this, and then return the string builder. Now, the first thing we want is our old line of text from here. And now we want to provide some more details. So we'll append a blank line, and then say b.append the following builders registered, and then we just say for each in the available builders collection. sb.append line just change that builders yeah, builders for the following types. Because we don't, a builder is just a callback at the moment. So rather than having a type builder available, we only have func of enumerable. So we'll just use the types that are registered. So say builder dot. And we'll actually put another blank line here. Did you forget to call storage dot register builder? Actually, we'll make that all one. Nope, that'll do actually. Do we have storage open? No. I don't want to have that hard-coded in case I decide to refactor it. So shall, not a euro sign, a dollar sign. A storage name of a storage register builder. Alright, so we've now got a reasonable error message and an exception. So if we were to run our storage tests, we should get a bunch of failures back. Because while we've created our new error message type, we haven't actually called it anywhere. There we go, 2 fails. And those will actually be the same test that's failing, because this is an inherited class. So here we just want to say wait, yes, that's right. So we now need to go into both of our implementations. Hope if I hit the right keybinds. And now here we want to throw our new kind of exception. New builder not bound, and we then say builders.keys, and type of T aggregate. And we've got the same thing to do at our other implementation, which is the in-memory one. Let's run again. And then what we'll do is we'll expand the test to check that the error message has the right kind of information in it. Hey, oh no, you're not actually running tests. That's nice of you. It's weird. Oh, I wonder if I've got another test that covers. Yep, another test. And it's this one that we want to run the test on. Well, does it matter? As long as we run it on one of them. Right. Let's just check we haven't broken anything else, because I think there's some other tests that cover that particular exception. Come on. I am building a event-sourced RESTful feature toggling service for fun, maybe use at work. Yeah, that's pretty much the one-line summary of it. Actually doing anything. Hopefully this will all get a lot quicker after tomorrow, because I should have an HDMI capture card arriving, so I can use another machine to do the capturing of the stream, and that way I don't have to run OBS on this laptop, and then things might run a bit quicker. Right, so let's commit that. Some bad white space. Right, so git commit. Now what is this? Session, I guess. Storage. Sessions. Place. Key not found with builder not exception. Right, let's go and deal with our other one. The other type we have is this key not found. Hang on a minute. That wasn't the right commit message, was it? Not supported exception. Base, there we are. Not supported exception. Right, that's better. So now we're going to replace this key not found with unable to find an aggregate exception. So let's create our new type, go and update the tests to look for that. So rather than key not found, we're going to have aggregate not found exception. Inherit exception. Be a bad person and just create the constructor we care about. So technically when you create an exception, you should be implementing 4 constructors, which you can see here in this tooltip at the bottom. Serialization info 1, a string message, an inner exception, and a blank constructor. But I don't plan on serializing these exceptions anywhere, so I'm not. And I was going to write a build message method there, but there doesn't seem much point, because this error message is fine as it is. Except I'm going to replace that with type aggregate type. Do aggregate type dot name. able to find a... Yep, that'll do. Right, so now let's take our aggregate not found exception, jump down to the tests, and let's say the storage, that's not the tests. There we are. So we got storage tests and storage session tests. So storage, get one of those, and the session, how many of those there are. Yeah, good. Alright, build everything and run the tests again. Few errors. Yep, which is good. Haven't replaced our actual errors with the new one. Right, so instead of key not found, we can now throw our new aggregate not found exception. Type of t aggregate. Aggregate ID. Right, let's implement that in the other method as well. Good. That's that one done as well. Yep. So let's commit that. Use this previous error message because I typed it wrong. With aggregate found exception. Good, now we have slightly better error messages. The other thing I was thinking of doing was tidying up these methods, which have become rather huge. But I'm tempted to just leave them alone for a minute while we actually check if it works. Especially as we do need all of these things. Every projection run all of the event, yeah, it is needed. Yeah, right, let's hook up the API to our real storage now. our REST registry, and we've got this build storage. So instead of a new memory, we'll use a new file. How do you spell file? FileSystemStorage, which requires a file system, which will come from somewhere, and a root directory. So I'm going to give it the root directory of storage. That'll do. Storage here. Right, and we need a file system. Now, I think it's called a physical file system. Yep. And that's not an in-memory, that should be an I storage. Right. Let's see what happens. Oh, I compiled all of this from scratch with a completely bare repository before I started streaming, and it took way less time than this. I don't know what it is about OBS that kills performance. Let's run that, and let's use the test REST client. Right, we're listening on the right port at least. And if we go to /toggles, there should be nothing there. Ooh, we got an error. The gigantic stack trace, that's not much help. Right, line 29. I have an error message somewhere on this. There we go. Now the question is, does that bit exist? Or do I need to create that on startup? I suspect I do. In fact, that's what that storage open method should be doing. So let's go fix bugs. Stop running that because I'm not creating the directory and nothing will auto-create it. So that's fine, but when you open a file system session, we have this open method that is doing nothing, and we have a root directory which needs to exist. So it stands to reason that we should be creating it in this open method. So let's go file system storage session tests. Overrides, stick. Actually, let's have a quick look at this. One of these has got some more tests in it. The overrides first and then the tests afterwards. Okay. So let's go down here and add some tests. In fact, when the storage, or when the session is opened, this is one of the many reasons that unit tests are not enough on their own. So let's say session.open, await. And now we just say in here fs.session received create directory root. Yeah, that should be it. This should now fail because, as before, we don't actually do anything in there, we just return a task. So let's go back to our file system session and make this do something. And we can say await test start. Create directory. And the path is root. Yeah, that should be it. Let's rerun our test, which should now pass. Yeah, okay. Because that's file system is not a substitute. So directory, it's an in-memory file system, so we just have to check if root exists. Exists should be true. Let's try that. Much better. Right, so now that we've fixed that, let's try running the REST API again. Let's clear that. If we get an error, we stand a chance of being able to find it. 500 again. Right, let's see what the problem is this time. Could not find file. Right, so apparently our what's the word? Our session should be checking if the file exists before trying to read it, which seems reasonable. So file system session. And we're trying to grab a projection. Now the interesting thing is, we're trying to grab a projection. Should we be throwing an error or not? I mean, this works in the in-memory version, so let's see what that does. Low projection. Throw projection not registered exception. No. Find the projection and just return it. May well be empty. How are we going to do that? And none of our tests actually cover it. So what are we doing here? We find the bright projection type. We don't throw the exception at all. That's weird. Right, so we don't have a test covering that. Yeah, we've got tests covering that a projection can be projected to. but we don't have a test for if there is no projection. So let's add that as well. What I want to do, I want to stop it running. Right. So, fact, when there is no projection registered. So we don't add one, and now we just say session load projection all toggles, and this should throw an exception. Should throw projection not registered exception. That's interesting. I've called this projection not registered as opposed to projection not found, and I called the other message projection not found. Right, so let's go for our two session tests, which are these two, and we'll just run those two. Now I'm expecting one of these to fail and the other one to pass. Yep, one failure. Wherever it is. Do this instead. There we go. Right, so that should have thrown an exception, but didn't. So let's go and fix that. I'll do it here because, well, we can pay the price for concatenating the types. And it looks a bit better to put it here, so we'll do projection is null. Throw new projection not registered exception. And what does that take in string projection name? So I assume is that. Let's go and have a look at the in-memory session and see what that uses for the name. It uses the type as opposed to the get type call, which might return different things, but through a null reference exception. That's weird. Quite unexpected. Is it not actually going to tell me where the null exception came from there? Right, so what would have thrown null here? Ah, yeah. That makes sense, because I'm being an idiot. Type of T projection. I refuse to believe that could have been null. But that could have been. So we do have to do it above. Right, that's fine. Although, actually, when we get the name project, what do we do when we save a projection? Yeah, we use get type on it. Okay. Much better. Right, let's commit those. Git add source Crispin and source Crispin.tests. File system session fix not being created and projection not throwing correct error, which is technically too long for a git commit message, but I don't really care. So, right, let's go back to running the API and see what the next error message is. I was hoping that was going to show me the REST client. Test REST. There we go. Oh, 500. Oh yes, of course it's giving the same error message. Because... where's the last error message? God, I hate this thing. There we are. Yeah, obviously it still can't find the file, and we should be checking for that. Doing something. So here we need to check if it exists. File exists. And now we need to do something. Have the projection. Can just return that. Just doesn't have any content. Which is essentially what the in-memory version is doing. Yeah, let's comment that out and go and add a test for that. When the projection doesn't exist on disk. So, don't need to do any setup, we just need to try and do things. We need the projection registered though. So we'll do session, projections register. No, add even. New toggles. Stick that in a variable. Let's call it all toggles actually. And now we'll say var projection equals session dot load projection all toggles. I'd have thought this. Yeah. Projection should be toggles. Not needing a wait in there. Might be able to push this one into the base class actually. Not doing anything file system specific. Of course, once we get this working, we'll then actually be able to start thinking about our feature toggle UI, which means I have to design a FeatureToggle UI, and then you guys get to hear me swear about JavaScript and such. Who wouldn't want to listen to that? Right, so we do have our failure. And I'm actually going to just move this up into the base class. Because, to be honest, I want to make sure that the in-memory session obeys the same rules. We'll just say when the projection hasn't been written to. Right. And in the case of our file system, just need to uncomment that. Let's get rid of these unused usings, everything, and run these two. Good. So let's commit those as well. So file system session handle if the projection doesn't exist on disk. Right, next error message. Oh, we got a 200 OK this time. We're making progress. Right, so let's try pushing. Yeah, let's try creating a toggle. So that's a post with only one of those content type headers. Text, name, first, and we'll give this a description as well, why not? One and only. Good. Do I need to give anything else? No, that should be enough. Oh, we got a 201 created. So if we now do git status, there should be a folder here. So if we then do tree source crispin.rest storage, oh, that. Oh. Right, we have two files there. We have first file, which is going to be our event stream, and the second file is the projection. So let's have a look at the content of those. Single event, one line. And if we cat the content of all, a bit more complicated, but it's the view. So now if we do a get, yeah, we should get our toggle back. We do. And now if we stop the API and start it again. Now fingers crossed we will get the same toggle back. And we do. Awesome. bit slow, but oh, it's quicker that time. Okay. Something caching. So, first thing to do is add source crispin.rest. Crispin registry. So, REST API, use file system storage. Now, I don't want to commit that and I don't want to track that. But what I am thinking is that would probably be quite ideal to go into our settings file. I believe I have app settings. I don't know how you're supposed to structure this. Can I just do this? Storage. I don't know if I want to type. Path. Now where is it putting that? There. So if we do up to directories, that'll put it on the root of our repository. You know what, I'm going to come back to this later when I actually have an idea of what I want to do there. So let's ignore that. Let's go back to our registry and just change our file path here. And we're also going to edit our gitignore file. To ignore storage. So we add the gitignore file, add source, spin rest, Crispin rest registry, and oh, don't be like that, just because I forgot the add command. Then we shall just move source crispin.rest storage to here. Right. Let's amend that last commit actually. Now the next question is, do I want to put the API, the view, the UI, into this REST project, or do I want to put it in its own separate project? Tempted by the separate one to start with, and I can always combine them later. So if we go cd source .net new, there we are. That's the list of things I want. And oh, we can do a React Redux application off the bat. I wonder how well that works. Let's try it. .net new. Now what's the, how do you specify this stuff? .net new React Redux name spin dots web UI. I don't want to use a word that's already like a keyword in a language or anything. UI, for instance, or web, because it's fun clashing with system.web. I don't like that. I'm just going to call it web UI. Right, important. Before running this project on the command line, you must store npm packages. Well, let's see what we've actually created. Tree Crispin.webui. Now we've got a couple of controllers. Client app. Oh, it's written in TypeScript. Some app settings. You get packages. And package JSON. Let's see what's in that. Cat Crispin.web package JSON. Crispin.web npm install. Just gotta wait 3 days while I download the internet. Speedy as expected. Wow. He is actually downloading the entire of the npm registry. Seriously? I mean, this is fun and all, but staring at a apparently slow restoring command line is fun. Oh, there we go. 679 packages. Jeez. I think this just goes to show that JavaScript is a pretty poor language. Right. I mean, I like JavaScript, but I think their standard library might be somewhat lacking to download that many packages. Right. That's our web UI. Right, let's go and have a read through it, restoring things. Let's see what. Oh, these can be. Nothing interesting. Go and have a look at our views. tag helpers. Layout doing particularly interesting. Right, there we are. Render the body. Include some vendor thing. Render the script section. Error page. X. So there's our script section. Run whatever in the distributed main. Right, this is looking like a fairly standard way of serving things, although I say if I come to implement it, I'll probably drop all of the MVC parts out of the way and just have my index page as a static HTML as well. But we can get there in a while. Right. I wonder what our entry point is. Have a look at the package, Jason. Oh, that's not anything that I wanted. Webpack. Oh, Webpack. No, I don't. Boot client.typescript. Right, let's have a look at boot. What's a tsconfig JSON do? I've not written anything in TypeScript before. So. Right, boot client. Huh. That's interesting. Figure out the base URL. Get the application store. Render stuff. Boot server. Oh, that's a what do they call it? A web background worker, maybe. Interesting. Right. How do we launch the thing? Can I just hit F5 and things work? Do I need to actually do an npm build or something? Right. Yeah. Right, let's just hit F5 and see what happens. What could possibly go wrong? Was actually writing the web UI might be a bit quicker. So we'll be less reliant on CPU cycles to run JavaScript. Which means I'll be less irritated by OBS eating all my CPU power all the time. Let's just look at more things while this is building. Log everything's warnings. Mission debuggy. See what port this listens on. Oh, we get an error straight away. Nice. I suspect this is that I haven't installed something. Address already in use. I thought I'd already stopped the REST project. Clearly not. Right, let's try that again. Right, and see if it actually does anything. Huh, it worked. I mean, obviously I'm not totally surprised by that, but I am. Lovely. Hmm. Well, that seems like fun. It's not got a bad styling to it, actually. I mean, I usually end up using the React Bootstrap Native, but that doesn't look too shabby to start with. I wonder what UI kit that's using. It's not a UI kit, it's just embedded stuff. I'm not convinced TypeScript that makes that look any nicer. I might not use TypeScript. I might just write in ES6, because that's fine. But I think that's something I can investigate later, because I might just delete this project. But let's push that up to GitHub. That'll do for this evening, I think. I might not stream tomorrow because I've got new streaming equipment arriving, so I'll need to set that up, and I have no idea how long that'll take. So there might be a stream tomorrow, there might not be. We'll see. If you've got any questions, you can send me a message. I'm at Ponderdom on Twitter, and the source code is available on GitHub, github.com/ponderdom/Crispin. Thanks for watching, and have a fun rest of your evening.